2 days before the wedding, my bestie dared me to test my fiancé. She refused to believe a playboy like Shane Shong, the rich heir, could truly reform. Her intuition is usually spot on, so I hastily created a burner account to pose as a sweet but psycho girl and flirt with him. Shane Shong completely demolished me, just as I was caught between laughter and tears. He suddenly reversed course, replying, "Let's end this boring game here. Aside from you two, I don't mess with other women. Little Chloe, if you want to send flirty texts, use your main account next time. Little Chloe is my bestie." After quickly processing these 3 messages, I felt the blood in my veins turn to ice. In a panic, I shut my eyes and pinched myself. Finally, amid my frantic heartbeat, I confirmed this was no dream. Shane Shong was cheating with Chloe Chung. But how could it be? Weren't they supposed to despise each other? Chloe thought Shane was unworthy of me. Nothing but money, no substance. Shane saw Chloe as an annoying pest, always urging me to break up with him during our fights. A video call ringtone snapped me out of my memories. I hung up numbly. "Why didn't you answer the video call?" Shane Shong asked me. "Are you crying? Come to Lanting Villa. I'll comfort you. Don't worry. I'll still treat you well after I'm married. Whatever Zella Lynn has, you'll have too, including me." I stared blankly at the phone screen, feeling a ringing in my ears, as if my soul had detached from my body. Large tears fell one after another. Through blurred vision, I couldn't help but recall the details of the first time I brought Chloe Chung to this villa. Without my guidance, she accurately knew where my bedroom was, where the walk-in closet was. When I took her phone, I found it was already connected to the Wi-Fi. She said she'd accidentally entered my QQ password. Shane's oriental short hair was unexpectedly affectionate toward her. She said it might be because she carried my scent. Yet that cat was aloof with me. Toys and treats could hardly tempt it, but it exposed its belly to Chloe Chung upon their first meeting. At Chloe Chang's place, there are identical clothes, bags, lipsticks, and cosmetics as mine. Some were given by Shane Shong under the guise of pleasing my little mother-in-law, bribing her through me. The rest, Chloe claimed, were gifts from admirers. I eagerly gossiped about it, but she hemmed and hawed, unwilling to elaborate. I thought she was just shy, but it turns out she was guilty. I recalled the times we went shopping together, and they argued and vied for attention right in front of me. A few times, their tense standoffs ended in laughter, breaking the tension, and back then, I was naively happy, thinking their relationship was improving. These two used me as a flirting tool and treated me like a fool. I cried until my eyes were swollen and my head dizzy. Grabbing the car keys, I floored the accelerator and drove to Lanting Villa. Lanting Villa is another residence of Shane Shong, where the groomsmen are staying. They're having a party there today. Shane is there. Chloe Chung actually showed up too, through the iron fence. I saw them by the pool. Shane Shong seemed drunk, his sharp, striking face flushed with a faint crimson, his eyes dazed. He hooked his arm around Chloe Chang's neck and blew a whisper into her ear. Chloe pouted, shoving him into the pool with a spoiled, willful push. The groomsmen surrounding them teased and cheered with playful amusement. Shane emerged from the water, shaking his wet hair back, a roguish grin spreading across his face. He grabbed Chloe's ankle and pulled her into the pool. As she shrieked, he lifted her up, pinned her against the pool wall, and kissed her with wild, domineering passion. The crowd around them erupted in cheers. Someone popped open champagne. Others set off party poppers. Amid the noise, a joking comment about me surfaced. "Brother Shane, you're marrying Zella Lynn the day after tomorrow. Is it really okay to be kissing her bestie today? Ha ha ha. As long as no one tells. Even if Shane does little Chloe right here today. Zella would never know. The Shane I know is back. All that groveling and chasing after Zella Lynn like she was your one and only. Turns out it was all an act. Huh? I really thought you pulled a Playboy reformed like in those dramas." Shane finally ended that lingering kiss. His voice was magnetic and husky, carrying a lazy, roguish charm. "I do love Zella deeply. She's the only woman I want to marry. I can spoil her, adore her, grow old with her. but staying celibate for her while I'm still so young. Shane chuckled and planted a loud kiss on Chloe Chung, who was panting against his shoulder. That, I can't do. Shane carried Chloe out of the water and laid her on a lounge chair. Someone nearby hurried to hand him a towel, but Shane draped it over Chloe instead. Someone asked, "Shane, are you going back tonight?" Chloe lifted her slightly reddened eyes to look at him. Shane crouched down and affectionately pinched her cheek. Zella Lynn cares most about little Chloe. I only rank second. Now that little Chloe is upset, of course I'll stay to keep her company. He waved dismissively behind him. Ethan, Yen, send a message to my wife. Tell her I'm drunk and staying here tonight. I'll pick her up tomorrow for the rehearsal. Just as tears began to pour, my phone buzzed softly. Ethan Yan's message read, "Shane's drunk and won't be coming home tonight. Get some rest. He'll pick you up personally for tomorrow's rehearsal." I stood frozen in place for a long time. My mind raced with thoughts. My parents passed away when I was very young, and I was sent to live with my uncle's family. My cousin often bullied me, and my aunt turned a blind eye when I didn't dare complain. Chloe Chung did it for me when I didn't dare fight back. Chloe Chung fought for me. Academically, I was sharper than Chloe. I always split my scholarship money with her to spend. As an only child, she never cared much for studying. During our senior year, I dragged her along every night, breaking down lessons and feeding her the knowledge, brainwash her, paint her a rosy picture. Eventually, we both got into universities in the city. In our sophomore year, I discovered my boyfriend was cheating. Upon hearing the news, Chloe Chung rushed to their hotel, beat up the scumbag, and tore into the other woman. The year we graduated, we shared a master bedroom rental, full of uncertainty about the future. Every night, under the same blanket, we tirelessly brainwashed each other about supporting one another after striking it rich. Don't forget me when you're rich. First share half the bed. Later save a room for me. We've been close since childhood. I've long considered her family. Maybe family won't love me unconditionally, but I believe she will. So when faced with her betrayal, I didn't even have the energy to confront her directly. The person who once stood up to help me tear into the other woman became the other woman to my fiancé. My complete trust was met with ruthless betrayal. When I left Lanting Villa, the moon hung high above, and I felt chilled to the bone. I thought of my past with Shane Shang. At 25, I finally became the chief designer at Northwood's top wedding design company. While overseeing the setup for Ethan Yan's manor wedding, I collapsed from low blood sugar after pulling an all-nighter and fell into a half-meter deep fountain. Shane Shang, who was passing by, saved me. The moment he carried me princess style, water dripping from his brow, his deep gaze fixed on me. My heart skipped a beat. I learned about his elite family background and his reputation as a playboy, which made me hold back. But Shane quit all his bad habits and pursued me earnestly for a year. His pursuit was respectful, sincere, and wholehearted. That New Year's Eve, I returned to my hometown to visit family graves, and my phone died midway. After 3 hours without contact, Shane, worried my low blood sugar had left me unconscious in the wilderness, drove hundreds of miles to find me. He stood on the ridge in thin clothes, neck stiff, wiping helpless tears as he desperately called out my name. In that moment, I thought, Mom, Dad, in this lifetime, I choose him and only him. Even after 3 years together, I never felt Shane Shang's love fading. He'd kneel on one knee in the middle of a shopping mall, helping me try on shoes without a care for the staring eyes. He'd hunt down traditional Chinese medicine for my period cramps and personally watch over the stove to brew it for me. Before introducing me to his parents, he'd thoroughly prepare them, ensuring I wouldn't face a hint of doubt or discomfort. He'd also take me into his world of high society, proudly and openly introducing me to everyone. This is my fiancée, Zella Lin, chief designer at Art Jiren. You may call her Miss Lin. She's incredible. She's won numerous design awards. Princess Josephine's legendary wedding was her creation, and her schedule for wedding designs is booked solid through the year after next. Wait, no, bookings start from the year after next, because next year we're having our wedding, a grand one. and will send you all invitations. His love was too intense, too perfect. That's why this one flaw stood out so starkly and fatally. I went to the hotel and cried my heart out. I kept comforting myself. It's just backstabbing, right? Just being treated like trash. The wedding hasn't happened. We haven't registered the marriage. There's still time to turn back. I should just leave. Get as far away from this place as possible. Away from these demons. But I wasn't the one who did wrong. Why should I be the one to slink away in defeat? I will get my revenge. Besides, what needs reflection is my judgment and perception, not my sincerity and kindness. I did nothing wrong. I am fine. The next day, for the rehearsal, I returned to the villa early. By the time Shane Shang came to pick me up, I had already pulled myself together, but he still noticed my swollen, red eyes. Did you cry last night? He bent his neck and gently kissed my eyelids. Disgust filled me. I was missing my parents last night. Shane smiled, knelt down, and helped me change my shoes. Uncle and Auntie will bless us from heaven. Gazing at the whirl of hair atop Shane Shang's head, I suddenly wanted to ask him, if you couldn't stay celibate, why did you marry me? Didn't you know I can't stand the slightest speck in my eye? When you and Chloe Chung were sneaking around behind my back, did it ever cross your mind how heartbroken and devastated I'd be when I found out? In the end, I clenched my teeth and swallowed these words. Shane had been happily announcing to everyone that he would throw an unprecedentedly grand wedding to marry me. I would personally turn this magnificent wedding into a farcical comedy, and Shane would be the clown standing center stage. The wedding rehearsal wrapped up in the afternoon. Before leaving, I asked Shane and Chloe to wait for me in the car. I went to find my assistant. This multi-million-dollar wedding was designed by me and coordinated by her. After our talk, she looked troubled, hesitating to speak. I turned a blind eye. I knew my request was unreasonable. Such last-minute changes would affect everything. Like pulling one hair moves the whole body. But I've handled hundreds of weddings, and I've dealt with far more capricious and difficult brides than myself. Why can't I be a little more selfish when I'm the bride? When we reached the car, the driver was nowhere to be seen. Shane Shang sat in the passenger seat, while Chloe Chung was in the back. The atmosphere was awkward as usual. I glanced at Chloe's slightly swollen lips and smirked mockingly. So all those times before, their flushed faces were from the thrill of kissing behind my back. I naively thought they were just arguing. I slid into the back seat and closed my eyes wearily. "Where's the driver?" Shane replied. "He went to the restroom. I'll call him right away." I gave a soft hum of acknowledgement. Shane turned around and handed me my thermos. The scent of pear and rock sugar tea wafted into my nostrils. "Are you very tired?" he asked gently. Then, fixing his gaze on Chloe, he commanded, "Chloe, come sit up front." "Don't." I opened my eyes, grabbed Chloe Cheng's hand, and turned to face her with a beaming smile. I still have so many secrets to share with little Chloe. Shane Shang frowned in displeasure. What secrets could there be that I'm not allowed to hear? My smile deepened. "Of course it's all about your flaws. If you heard, you definitely tossed little Chloe right out of the car." Shane snorted. "My little mother-in-law, no matter how much you oppose this marriage, Zella Lin and I have already made it official. From now on, you should watch your tongue." Chloe seemed to have guessed something and didn't retort as she used to. Her face stiffened, and she looked at me somewhat guiltily. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Last night, I went to Lanting Villa." Chloe shuddered, releasing my hand as if electrocuted. I guess she'd been with Shane last night, and had learned through probing that I'd already tested him, but she didn't dare make too big a move. So she only knew I tested Shane, not what exactly I'd uncovered. So he spent the whole day trying to pry information out of me. I laughed aloud, suppressing the stabbing pain in my heart, and spoke maliciously. "I saw everything. Your sordid affair. Your betrayal. My dear little Chloe. My sweet bestie. You've been so very good to me, haven't you?" Chloe Chung clenched her skirt, turned her face away, but I forced it back toward me. She shot a meaningful glance toward Shane Shang up front, but Shane didn't notice. An elder greeted him from outside the window, and he opened a car door and stepped out. Chloe tried to follow him out, but I grabbed her wrist. Running away, I said coldly, "Isn't everything unfolding exactly as you schemed? I find out about your mutual betrayal before the wedding, then I break it off, and you take on the player. If you weren't afraid to expose yourself, why should I fear seeing it with my own eyes? Isn't the outcome the same either way?" Chloe stopped struggling, turned to face me, and bit her lip as she stared. I steadied my emotions and said calmly, "You already know I've tested Shane Shong, yet you dare to come to the rehearsal today. Isn't it just to probe my stance? I'll tell you right now exactly where I stand. I won't keep following your plan. I'm going to marry Shane, get our marriage certificate." Watching the shock on Chloe Cheng's face, I smiled mockingly. "You don't believe in the Playboy reform narrative, and neither do I. Which rich heir doesn't have one at home and a string outside? Do you think I'd marry Shane without that awareness? But you've fallen for him, haven't you? Yet, has he ever truly held you in his heart, even as a mistress, not just a plaything? You're not foolish enough to believe his sweet talk. Are you? Want to bet if I expose last night's affair now, Shane would toss you out instantly, then kneel at my feet begging forgiveness? Out of guilt. He'd cherish me even more for years. So guess, what would he do to you then?" Chloe Cheng's eyes welled up with hot tears. My heart clenched, and I took a deep breath. Still, I couldn't help sobbing. For someone like him, you'd betray our over 20 years of feelings. Chloe Cheng lowered her head, hugging herself and covering her ears with her hands. I turned my face away, unable to hold back my tears either. It hurts. It really, really hurts. Something that had taken root in my heart, intertwined and grown for decades, was being brutally ripped out. Every tug tore at flesh and blood, the pain so intense I could barely breathe. "Why are you crying?" Shane Shong got into the passenger seat and noticed something was wrong. When he turned to look, his brow furrowed sharply. "Chloe, what did you say to Zella? Why did you make her cry?" He got out of the car, squeezed into the back seat, and said in a low voice, "Chloe, go ride with the bridesmaid's car." Chloe's face turned pale, her lips trembling as she stared at Shane in disbelief. "Don't you understand what I said?" Shane sharply issued the order to leave. Chloe Cheng wiped away her tears and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Shane Shong pulled me into his embrace, asking softly, "Baby, tell me, what exactly did you two talk about just now?" Outside the window, Chloe visibly stiffened mid-step. I replied with a trembling voice, "You misunderstood her. We just shared some jerking bestie talk." Shane frowned in displeasure. "Is she insane? Talking about that stuff now? What if it affects your mood? You need to get your makeup done tomorrow. What if your eyes swell from crying?" He spoke loudly. His voice carried through the car window, like a blunt knife pressing against Chloe's back, urging her to quicken her pace. Wedding day, the castle stood solemn, surrounded by endless lawns. I wore a pure white wedding dress, arriving in a flower-adorned carriage. The clop of hooves, the melody of elegant music. Shane, dressed in a sharp suit, stood on the lawn waiting for me with bright, eager eyes. I took his hand to step down from the carriage, walking hand in hand with him toward the stage area. Petals drifted down, butterflies fluttered, and applause thundered. After the host's opening, Shane Shong went off script and confessed to me for 10 minutes. I saw his trembling chin and shaking hands. By the end, his eyes were red and moist, his voice quivering. He mentioned our first meeting. He mentioned the day we confessed our feelings. He mentioned all the warm, tender moments we shared. But all I could think about was that night by the pool, when he said, "But for her, staying celibate, I can do it." As tears rolled down, Shane pulled me into his embrace. I heard the frantic beating of his heart against his chest. He was incredibly nervous, yet overjoyed. I thought, he must love me. His vows were real. The betrayal was real too. These two contradictory things coexisted simultaneously. The host delivered the closing remarks. The wedding vow exchange was rescheduled for the evening. "This isn't how we rehearsed it." Shane Shong shot a surprised glance at the MC. I tugged at his sleeve, whispering softly, "It was my idea." Yet when evening came, surrounded by flowers and under dazzling lights, I met Shane's excited gaze and declared my refusal. The MC was stunned, the guests shocked. The happiness in Shane's eyes swiftly gave way to astonishment, then gradually turned to fury. He stared at me intently, while I looked back calmly. The clock struck 8 precisely. The overhead lights dimmed, and fireworks lit up the distant lakeshore. Fireworks of various colors and shapes intertwined, spreading across the night sky in a brilliant, beautiful display, scattering over the lake, ethereal as a dream. After admiring them for a moment, I loosened my wedding gown and stepped gracefully off the stage. The wedding I had meticulously planned, pouring my heart into every detail, had finally come to an end. Shane stopped me at the castle entrance. His face was darker than the night. "Zella Lynn, what do you mean by this?" I looked at him calmly, uttering those thorn-like words stuck in my heart with indifference. "I do love Zella Lynn deeply, and she is the only woman I want to marry, but staying celibate for her, I can't do it." Shane Shang froze for a moment, then anger surfaced between his brows. "Who told you this? Chloe Chung? Was it her?" I scoffed. "So even you can't stand the taste of betrayal? Then how could you betray me so brazenly? Was it her?" "No, I heard it live at Lanting Villa." Shane Shang's eyes turned icy, his tone growing colder and harder. "You knew everything, yet held back just to humiliate me like this today? Zella Lynn, you've really grown some nerve." I smiled faintly. "Shane Shang, you're too full of yourself." Guess why I moved the vow exchange to the very end? Shane Shang frowned, his squinted eyes sharp and piercing. "Because I want to complete this wedding ceremony. I want to see tonight's fireworks." I paused my work and spent a whole year preparing for the wedding. I revised the design drafts repeatedly, traveled everywhere to contact top floral artists and paper craft masters, sourcing materials, coordinating with prop companies, ensuring a high success rate for execution. I meticulously planned every detail. I tried on over 100 wedding dresses, countless pairs of wedding shoes, and tested my makeup dozens of times. Shane Shang, no other man is worth me investing this much effort into having a wedding with ever again. This might be the only wedding I'll ever have in my lifetime. Fully experiencing this wedding, which everyone poured their hearts into, is far more important than humiliating you. Haven't you noticed? During today's wedding shoot, the camera never once focused on you. For this wedding, I only need my own photos to turn out perfectly. Shane's face flushed with anger, his thin lips pressed into a tight line, his dark eyes fixed on me intently. "Are you saying you want to end things with me?" I took a deep breath. I think my I don't made it quite clear. Shane Shang fell silent for a moment, then said in a trembling voice, "Zella Lynn, think carefully. If you leave me, you'll never find anyone with better prospects than me." I smiled. Why would I need to look? I have a job, savings, brains, and skills. I can live a rich and happy life on my own. You don't need marriage to fulfill your career. And likewise, I don't need marriage to fulfill anything for me. Shane's expression turned stern, his jawline tight. The pale light fell on his shoulders like a layer of frost. "Zella, don't you regret this?" "I won't regret it." I turned and walked away proudly, my back straight, along the gravel path. Yet tears still trailed down my chin, falling along the way. I stayed at a hotel for 3 days, pulled out my SIM card, uninstalled all my social apps, spent 3 days in complete idleness. When I left the hotel, I felt like my eyes couldn't even focus. I hailed a cab and went to Shane's place. The lawn was strewn with torn red carpet, and the double happiness character on the iron gate had been ripped off, crumpled, and tossed to the ground. The villa stood empty, with signs of destruction visible everywhere. The sofa was askew, and shattered vase pieces littered the floor. It seemed Shane Shang had lost his temper here. I tiptoed upstairs and began packing my belongings. Most of my things were bought by Shane, so after leaving them behind, I had little to take with me. A single suitcase was enough to hold it all. As I carried my suitcase downstairs, my eyes met Shane's as he lay on his back on the hall floor. His hair was disheveled, his clothes in disarray. A cigarette dangled from his fingers. He took a drag, then stubbed it out on the floor. His sharp, striking face, veiled in wispy white smoke, held an absurd, decadent beauty. I caught my breath and quickened my pace down the stairs. Don't go. As I passed by, Shane spoke in a hoarse, low voice. I didn't stop walking. I told you not to leave. He roared, scrambling up. He caught up with me in 2 or 3 strides. Kicking my suitcase aside, he grabbed my shoulders and spun me toward him. Lowering his head, he kissed me with overwhelming intensity. The bitter taste of tobacco and alcohol transferred through our mingled saliva, making me struggle frantically. Useless. Tears of desperation welled in my eyes. The moment we parted, I slapped him hard across the face. Shane Shang, get away from me. Shane slowly turned his face back, his eyes gleaming with danger. The next second, he lifted me vertically and threw me over his shoulder. He carried me all the way to the bedroom, ignoring my punches and struggles. I was flung onto the large red bed. As I lay disoriented, he shed his coat and pressed down on me. His cheeks were flushed red from the alcohol. With pale, cool fingers, he wiped away the tears at the corner of my eye. He rasped, Zella, which wealthy man doesn't stray? I'm no saint. You shouldn't have blown this out of proportion, ruining our wedding and our relationship. I did say that day, for you, I couldn't promise staying celibate, but I also said, I love you deeply, and you're the only woman I want to marry. I'll cherish you and grow old with you. Why did you pretend not to hear that first part? Tears gushed forth uncontrollably. How could I have fallen for someone like this? I glared at him with shame and resentment. Shane, you disgust me. You disgust me. Let go of me. I don't want to see you. Shane frowned in displeasure. After a long moment, he curled his lips into a sinister smile. Once you're carrying my child, you won't think about leaving me so easily. Zella, let's have a baby. I felt as if plunged into an ice cellar. As he shifted his weight onto me, I struggled desperately. Shane? A man's voice suddenly drifted in from outside, one call after another. It was Ethan Yen. Shane Shang. Which room are you in? Say something. Your mom's blowing up my phone. Shane froze for a moment. Seizing the chance, I mustered all my strength to break free from under him, dashing barefoot across the cold floor. I didn't stop even when I collided with Ethan Yen at the bedroom door. Reaching the lobby, I glanced back. Only after confirming Shane wasn't following did I grab my suitcase. Fleeing outside and diving into the car without a backward glance, I slammed the accelerator, heart still racing, and didn't ease off until I'd sped hundreds of meters away. Because of my wedding to Shane, I'd taken a year off from work. After the ceremony, there was supposed to be a 2-month honeymoon. Now, the honeymoon was gone. At a time like this, with everyone gossiping and no work to distract myself, I decided to travel alone. The day before leaving, I visited my parents. At their graves, I poured out the painful experiences I'd endured. It's a good thing you weren't there. Otherwise, how heartbroken you would have been if I'd met your comforting eyes. My grievances might have spilled over in tears right then. My dad was a truck driver, often away for 4 or 5 days on a single haul, especially frequent during summer, hauling fruit shipments. After one trip ended, he'd service the truck and set off on the next. Mom was a homemaker. Aside from chores and caring for me, she also took on handicraft work. They both did their utmost to give me the best they could, even though I wasn't their biological child. In my memory, we rarely gathered together for meals, but for important birthdays and holidays, everyone was present. Our favorite breakfast was the rice noodles from that shop in the west of town. Perched on my dad's shoulders, I'd listen to his booming voice call out, "Boss, 3 bowls, 1 liang, 2 liang, 3 liang." Breaking free from the memory, I suddenly noticed someone standing beside me. I turned and saw Shane Shang's face. My own instantly paled. I nearly collapsed to the floor. Shane paused, taken aback by my reaction. He then turned away, speaking in a low voice. "I'm sorry for forcing you that day. I've thought it over carefully these past few days, and I realize I was terribly wrong. I think we should have a proper talk." He cast a dejected glance my way. In the past, during our arguments, whenever I saw that look on his face, I would soften instantly and pull him into an embrace. This time, I frowned in disgust and said coldly, "There's nothing to discuss. Leave now. I don't want to see you." He hesitated mid, breath. Then, as if ignoring me, picked up a piece of yellow paper, lit it over the candle, and tossed it into the ashes. "Shane," I said, "get out." I roared. The next moment, a sudden gust of wind swirled the burning yellow paper upward. An orange flame lashed fiercely against the back of Shane's hand. He instinctively jerked his hand back, looking at my scalded red hand. I turned my face and glanced in surprise at my parents' grave mound. I was also taken aback for a moment. I didn't cry when pouring out my grievances to my parents earlier. I didn't cry when recalling those sparse, fragmented memories. I didn't cry when my emotions surged and I yelled at Shane. But at this moment, my tears burst forth uncontrollably. "Mom and Dad, you've been with me all along." "Zella," Shane frowned, looking at me with heartache, reaching out to wipe my tears. But I turned away to avoid his touch. I wiped my tears and choked out, "You should go. My parents don't like you." Shane's eyes gradually reddened, a faint glimmer of moisture welling up in them. His back slightly bent, his hands clenched into fists, then loosened. He glanced helplessly at my parents' grave mound, then turned to look at me. "I'm sorry." After uttering those words, he turned and left, leaving behind a dejected and lonely figure. I knelt on the ground, staring at the pile of ashes as sobs choked my voice. The day after visiting my parents, I woke early, packed my luggage, and headed to the airport. Before boarding, I received a call from Ethan Yen. He said Shane Shang had been in a car accident on his way back. He was badly injured, but he was refusing treatment. Ethan wanted me to go back and talk some sense into him. I frowned and stayed silent. The airport announcements echoed through the phone line. Ethan exclaimed on the other end, "You're at the airport?" A moment later, he lowered his voice. "Perfect. Hurry and take a flight or high-speed train over. Shane's in a terrible state. Say something to calm him down. You have me on speaker, don't you?" Ethan stammered. Yeah, it's on. Go ahead. Shane can hear you." I replied coldly. "Shane, we're done. I won't worry over your theatrics, and I won't come back because of them. I will never forgive your betrayal." The receiver transmitted heavy, ragged breathing. Then, Ethan Yen roared furiously from the other end. "Zella Lin, how could you be so cruel? Shane is hanging by a thread right now, and you choose this moment to say these things to him? Are you trying to push him over the edge? Do you have any idea how furious Shane's parents were after you humiliated him at the wedding? If Shane hadn't taken a family beating to protect you, you'd already be dead. You know that. He went to pick you up with his back covered in whip marks, and you didn't even come back with him. Now he's lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to an oxygen machine, and you're still saying these things. Do you have no conscience at all? He treasures you so much, lowering his pride and bending over backward to please you. Is this how you repay him, with such heartlessness?" I choked up for a moment. If he truly treasured me, he wouldn't have gotten involved with Chloe Chung. And you're no saint either. Back when he quit his bad habits, but still kept in touch with you all. I should have realized he's cut from the same cloth as you deep down. Zella Lin. I hung up the phone, grabbed my suitcase, and embarked on the journey. Over 2 months, I traveled to many places and witnessed countless breathtaking views. Endless snowy mountains, boundless seas of flowers, desolate yet majestic desert sunsets, deep and mysterious caves, vibrant and colorful underwater worlds. I indulged in freedom and life to the fullest. I developed many new perspectives about myself and the world, different from before. My skin grew darker and rougher, but my muscles and spirit also became fuller and stronger. I began stepping into the world of independence, where the rules of the game are health, freedom, assets, and strength. I returned to the company, brimming with inspiration, making waves in the wedding industry, while also exploring other fields. I rarely thought of Shane Shang, only occasionally overhearing discussions about him while sipping drinks at quiet bars. Shane had reverted to his old ways, splurging recklessly at bars, getting hopelessly drunk, changing women by his side in less than a week, completely neglecting his company responsibilities. He even raced cars like a madman every time, pushing the limits. The Yen family's rich heir was so worried about him daily that he nearly turned into an old eunuch. yet still got scorned by Shane Shang. Eventually, the two had a huge fight and completely fell out. Hearing all this, I felt neither pain nor relief, just an unusual calm. I had truly let go. That day after work, just as I pulled out my car keys in the underground garage, someone suddenly covered my mouth with a cloth from behind, and I instantly lost consciousness. When I woke again, I was in Shane Shang's villa, on that very couch where I loved to sit cross-legged and cuddle with Shane. Across from me sat two people, Shane's parents. Though only half a year had passed, they seemed to have aged significantly. Even Shane's mother, who never blinked at spending on skincare, now had deep wrinkles on her forehead. I glared at them angrily. What do you two intend by bringing me here with such low and despicable means? Shane's father sat ramrod straight, his expression clearly indicating he had no intention of speaking. After an awkward silence, Shane's mother finally spoke with an apologetic look. Miss Lin, I'm terribly sorry for bringing you here so abruptly, but we're truly at our wits' end. That boy Shane has wronged you, and it's my failure as a mother in raising him properly. I apologize to you. We asked you here today, hoping for your assistance. Please help us persuade Shane. After you left, he completely fell apart, drinking heavily every day, even going street racing. I fear if this continues, he's our only child. We beg you to help us. A parent's heart aches for their child. Originally, he gave up these bad habits for you, and now he's fallen back into them because you left. You still hold his heart. Only you can make him quit these vices and get back on track. I implore you, as his mother, to talk some sense into him. Shane's mother spoke through tears and choked sobs. I silently clenched my fists. Auntie, you've come to the wrong person. I can't do this, nor do I want to. If you try these forceful tactics on me again, I won't hesitate to push Shane Shang further into madness. Shane Shang's mother covered her mouth with a pained expression. I'm sorry, we won't disturb you anymore. The moment the words fell, I heard a deep, ominous male voice behind me that sent chills down my spine. Who gave you permission to bring her here? I turned to face Shane Shang's burning crimson eyes. His cheeks had thinned slightly, his skin pale with an unhealthy pallor, yet his body remained tall and imposing beneath his overcoat, with intense brows and striking eyes, deep, sinister, and swirling with gathering storm clouds. He looked utterly terrifying. All of you, get out, he roared in fury. I quickly stood up and hurried away. Behind me came the sound of a vase shattering as it hit the floor, followed by Shane's father's angry shouts and his mother's sobs. Slap after slap landed on Shane Shang's face, yet he endured them stubbornly, screaming hysterically, Get out, get the hell out of here. Who told you to come here? I don't want to see you. I halted my steps and turned to watch this family drama unfold. Shane, the hall fell into an eerie silence at my faint utterance. Shane's parents turned their gaze toward me in unison. Shane stood motionless, his profile facing me. I saw his disheveled hair and swollen, reddened cheeks. Don't yell at your mother like that. Live well from now on. Take care. 2 years later, a stranger added me, due to work reasons. I've always been quite lenient about accepting friend requests. I initiated a greeting. The other person ignored me. Their profile picture was a cat, so I couldn't tell their gender. Just as I was about to check their moments, they sent me an electronic wedding invitation. I opened it. Title: We're married, invitation to the wedding of Fei Wenshuan and Chloe Chung. The cover photo was a picture of Chloe Chung with an unfamiliar man. In the photo, she was beaming brightly and radiantly, just like when she stood on the podium after winning the jump rope competition at the sports meet in my memory. I stared at that photo for a long time, lost in thought. Then I scrolled down and saw their love story. They met the year before last, got engaged, and registered their marriage after a year and a half of dating. In every picture, Chloe was smiling happily. I could tell it wasn't staged. It came from the heart. The man was also handsome and dashing, with a calm and reliable demeanor. Back when we used to guess what type of guy the other would like, I had imagined that Chloe would be into this kind of man. She's so lively and energetic. She needs someone steady who can give her a sense of security, someone who'll dote on her, watch her play around, and watch her laugh. At the time, Chloe's reaction was quite exaggerated. How could you think I'd like this type? Haha, I don't like this kind. This is more for marriage material. For dating, of course you need someone exciting and passionate. What do you mean by exciting and passionate, man? Someone cool and handsome, but not in a conventional way. I prefer the bad, boy handsome type. Someone who knows how to flirt and sweet talk, who with just one raised eyebrow can make me unable to resist kissing him. Thinking about it, Shane Shang is exactly that type. For a moment, I felt somewhat dazed and emotional. I closed the invitation and went to check Chloe Cheng's social media feed. She's been doing very well these past 2 years. She found satisfying work, no longer idle and aimless. She built new social circles and gets along well with friends. Her fiancé treats her well too, taking her to many places and capturing beautiful photos together. I closed her profile and sent her 2 messages. Happy wedding, but I won't be attending. Please don't contact me again. I blocked and deleted Chloe Chung. To be honest, on my wedding day, I secretly hoped Chloe Chung would come and accompany me through the ceremony, even though we'd had such an ugly fight the day before. But she never showed up. She broke our promise first, so I didn't want to attend her wedding either. Whatever happens to her from now on has nothing to do with me. Extra, Shane Shang's perspective. I fell in love with Zella Lin at first sight. That day, out of boredom, I arrived early at Ethan Yan's wedding venue. People were bustling about, moving props both large and small. But my eyes instantly landed on Zella, sitting cross-legged and serene on the grass. She had a nearly perfect profile, snow, white skin, and slender limbs. Her head was bowed as she intently studied the paper in her hands. She was dressed simply, her hair even a bit disheveled, yet she utterly captivated me. I assumed she was with the bride's party, but the person beside me replied in a surprised tone, "You don't know her? Zella Lin, Art GRN's chief designer. Lin Zhong's only apprentice. She's hugely popular in Northwood." I froze for a moment. I don't plan on getting married, so naturally I wouldn't know who's hot in this industry. But I do remember Lin Zhong quite well. He was a fairly famous artist early in his career, then later shifted to the wedding industry, which caused quite a stir at the time. Didn't Lin Zhong refuse to take female apprentices? But Zella's talent and persistence wore him down. She kept at it until the old master relented and agreed to mentor her. My curiosity was thoroughly piqued. I was about to step forward and strike up a conversation, but Zella had already vanished from my sight. As my gaze shifted, I caught the fading glimpse of her plunging into the fountain pool. Instinctively, I rushed over, jumped into the water, and pulled her out. Zella was completely drenched, cradled in my arms. She felt as light as a feather. Water droplets traced paths down her cheeks, instantly breathing life into her delicate features. Her gaze remained fixed on me, unwavering. I saw my reflection filling her eyes completely. In that moment, I heard my own heartbeat, pounding like a drum, rapid and powerful. I added Zella Lin's contact information. After Ethan Yan's wedding, I asked her out to dinner a few times. She agreed the first few times and even insisted on paying her share. But after that, she kept turning me down. It was strange. All those socialites and heiresses were eyeing the empty spot on my household register like wolves. Yet she kept pushing me away, almost in a panic. Having navigated the dating scene for years, I could sense she had feelings for me. I thought, Zella Lin isn't like those women who throw themselves at me. She deserved a genuine pursuit. But in the process of chasing her, I fell completely. Heaven knows how terrified I was during those 3 hours she went offline while visiting her family graves. I feared she might faint from low blood sugar in the wilderness, be taken by strangers, or devoured by wild beasts. I couldn't lose her, and on that day, I won her heart. After we became official, all the love I had nowhere to pour finally found its way entirely to Zella Lin. I spoiled her rotten, but gradually, I cooled down. Sometimes looking in the mirror with her, I felt happiness, but also a sense of fragmentation, as if the perfect person in the mirror wasn't really me. It seemed for Zella, I was gradually losing myself. When friends in our circle once called me a hopeless romantic, I gladly accepted it, but now I felt they were mocking me. So when Chloe Chung tested me, I went with the flow and revealed my true nature. She used it to blackmail me. I found it ridiculous. Clearly, she had ulterior motives toward me too. I dragged her into the water, pulling us both down into the mire of betraying Zella. Gradually, I found a balance between loving Zella and maintaining my own identity. I never imagined my affair would be discovered by Zella Lynn. Even less did I expect her to humiliate and retaliate against me at such a grand wedding. In front of so many eyes, I felt furious. After she returned a few days later to pack her things, I felt panic. Only then did I realize that Zella Lynn truly intended to leave me, and I couldn't lose her. Under the haze of alcohol, I said some deeply hurtful things. Those words weren't my true intent. I had meant to reason with her properly. I wanted her to give me a chance. I would guarantee absolute loyalty to her from then on. As long as she forgave me, as long as we got past this hurdle, we would surely be happy together in the future. But she was too resolute. So resolute it was as if she had never loved me at all. I was enraged, and I did something terrible to her. Fortunately, Ethan Yin showed up and stopped me, preventing me from committing an even more despicable crime. I found out about Zella Lynn's plans to travel and that her parents intended to take revenge on her. This is how noble families are. They cannot tolerate anyone tarnishing their reputation. I used a family disciplinary punishment to intercept the retaliation that should never have fallen upon Zella Lynn. Leaving the ancestral hall, I dragged myself with my last ounce of strength to find Zella. I found her at her parents' gravesite. She looked haggard, with dark circles under her eyes. I wanted to have a proper talk with her, but she was furious. At that moment, I felt as if something was choking my throat. I distracted myself by burning joss paper. A sudden gust of wind swept up the burning yellow paper, and my hand was badly scalded. In that instant, I sensed an invisible rejection. Zella Lynn's parents did not welcome me. Even Zella said so herself. I felt utterly helpless. The wounds on my back ached, but the pain in my chest was even worse. Could it be that I truly cannot win Zella back? On the way back, this question consumed my thoughts. Just because of one betrayal, she never wanted to look at me again. I deliberately crashed my car into a tunnel. Then I called 120 and had the medical staff call Ethan Yen. At the cost of my life, I hoped to receive a concerned glance from Zella Lynn, but she wouldn't even comfort me over the phone. At that moment, I truly wanted to die. Ethan Yen slapped me fiercely. He said if I resisted treatment again, he'd take revenge on Zella Lynn. I was hospitalized for over a month. Zella Lynn didn't call or message me once. One night, I couldn't resist calling her out of longing. A cold electronic tone echoed from the receiver. Zella Lynn had blocked me. So ruthless, so hateful. After discharge, I drank myself into a stupor and set Lanting Villa ablaze, destroying it. I vengefully picked up all my old vices again. It's better that Zella Lynn isn't with me. This way, I can truly let myself go. One day, while drinking at a bar, someone mentioned that Zella Lynn had returned, but she never came to see me, not even once. I drank even more heavily, and when Ethan Yen tried to reason with me, I punched him. After that incident, he never came to see me again. When there's no light, even your shadow leaves you. How much more so people? That day, while I was at the stepping stones, I heard Zella's voice drifting from the hall. Turns out, my parents had brought her here by force, hoping she could talk some sense into me. I stood by the door, clenching my fists, holding my breath as I waited for Zella's response. I thought, even if she just said a few perfunctory words out of pity, I'd pull myself together. But she said she wouldn't mind pushing me further over the edge. It seemed there wasn't a shred of feeling left in her for me. I was truly going insane. I burst in and started yelling at them. Zella brushed past me and walked out. Just as all hope seemed lost, I heard her call out to me. She told me not to shout at my mother. She told me to live well. She seems to have truly moved on. But what about me? I'm still stuck in the past. I can't forget her. I only love Zella Lynn. Always have. I pulled myself together, devoted myself to my mother, and took over the family business. As time went on, My mother arranged more and more blind dates. I turned them all down. One day, my mother asked me with tears in her eyes if I was still waiting for Zella. Yes, she's the only woman I want to marry. I'm waiting for her. I don't know how long I'll wait. Maybe until she gets married, or until I give up, or perhaps until the day I die.